All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our morning call on this Monday morning. Always kind of a good, refreshing. I'm gonna start my day right on a Monday. We're here, the second full week in August, about a month away from Ignite, and we have an amazing guest today. An amazing guest. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit prior to us speaking today. I'd heard a few things about him in the past and he so graciously volunteered to give us some of his time. Zachary Young really has an interesting way of looking at this business. He'll tell you guys a little bit more about it later, but what really struck a chord with me is when he started to talk about tonality. And I've been in the sales training industry for years, and cadence and tonality and pitch of voice and all those little things matter. And he shared with me that not only has he done 100K, he's trained a lot of 100K people on his team to do 100K, but objections are important. But if you have the right tonality, and he'll share this with you guys, that you're not going to get that many objections. And when you're a good salesperson, you're so polished in all the different areas of your approach and your qualifications and your tonality and your questions and your humor and your power pauses and all the different things that you're going to get a lot less objections. And if you're not getting them, it's going to be much more of a smooth deal. And that's what Zach's about. Um, he talks about practicing. The secret is practicing perfect tonality and stop trying to overcome all the objections. And although we do need to know them, but those objections are triggered because of the way you're being and what you're saying. So, Zach, I think I'm barely touching the surface of what you're going to talk about and who you're about. But why don't you share a little bit about your story and how this has helped you so much? Just using outbound, we're all talking about inbounds, and many of us are doing it too, but still using outbound, aged, goat leads, and still being able to produce this because of the way you're being. So welcome to our meeting, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Gary. Appreciate all of you guys for taking the time to come on here. I know it's all precious. I'm going to try to provide as much value as I can for everybody. A little bit of backstory on me, guys. I actually started off in health insurance a long, long time ago, almost 10 years ago. If you've heard of a captive agency called USHA, I ran the number one team in the country there. Obviously, realizing you're captive was a big deal. And so I went into life insurance thinking, having a big ego and taking the very logical, practical sales of health insurance, which is just problem solving. And I tried to bring that fast pace sort of, not really thinking about tonality. I tried to bring that into life insurance and I got humbled really quickly. And it took me about 2 to 3 months for me to actually get that to click and really figure it out. But my mom's been a teacher her whole life. My dad's a Olympic athlete turned professional coach his whole life, and I have three sisters. I have no brothers, and so I was raised with it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. All right, and so that combined with their ability to really impress upon me that there are no bad students, there are only bad teachers, and really try to figure out what somewhat came naturally in the sense of like me figuring out tonality, how to break it down scientifically, logically, so that other people can understand it. So, what I want to do for you guys today, and actually at the end of this, if you guys want, I'll post the link in here. I have about it's my probably my life's work of TED Talk. It's a 2.5 hour 32 video, and it's a private YouTube playlist. So if you guys want to watch it, I can send it to you, post it in here for everybody. But essentially it has slideshows and everything. It breaks down everything that I've learned about tonality in the last 10 years. So I'm going to try to condense a little bit of this, try to get a press upon you guys why it's such a big deal. But I'm going to start with a quick anecdote just so you guys kind of get an idea of this. Who here, just curious, I'm going to kind of flip through. Who here has heard of Arturo Johnson, AJC leads? Is anybody? I'm just going to see a few heads nodding. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I was one of the very first agents in there to start writing consistently like 80, 90, 100K months with them. And so they had me come on and do a presentation and everything. And I kept getting the same question over and over again, which was like, how do you handle all the pushback at the beginning of a call? And I think I realized in that moment that people didn't understand the tonality side of this because I was so confused by that question. I was like, I don't get it. I don't get pushback. And so I want to make sure that I train everybody here. So by the end of this call, you guys can take away from how to go about saying things in a certain way. And I'm going to break it down scientifically. This isn't going to be foo-foo. It's very logical, very easy to understand. But I'm going to break it down because I want you guys to know this. If you guys have perfect tonality, and I say perfect, right? I'm not, no one's ever perfect, right? But if you have very good tonality, then you not only will create laydowns, and my team will tell you they're very frustrated when we do call analysis because they're like, Zach, we don't hear you doing objection handling. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Because we're just by doing it this way. But the other thing, this is important. A lot of people don't think about this persistency. Guys, if you're set making sales and you're an objection master, that's amazing. I'm very happy for you. But that means that every single call is a tooth and nail fight. And I promise you that your sales are probably leaving with a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth, whereas mine are like, I love this guy so much. Does that make sense? Like, even if we both could have the same writing numbers, but my persistency is going to be a little higher just because of the way we left the call, right? There was no battles, there was no objections. So that being said, I'm going to give you, there is, again, it's 2 hours. So, I mean, this is much deeper. I won't be able to go over all of it, but I want to give you guys a little bit of a taste. And the biggest one that I really want to go over with you guys is uptone versus downtone. Okay. The reason why this is so important is because Harvard, my background is in psychology, by the way. So Harvard did an amazing study on this. They found that if they surveyed about 1,000 people, that if they asked each individual person, what they did is they had somebody go to each person and give them a truth or a lie at complete random. And at the end of that, they would ask the person, was that person telling the truth or a lie? Now, Harvard, their study group, their hypothesis was that human beings were really good at deception. We could detect it very easily. What they found was that it was actually inconclusive, that they could not tell. But when they rephrased the question and they said, would you trust this person? All of a sudden, a human being could guess with a 98% accuracy whether that person was lying or telling the truth. So, what does that mean? That means that if I say a lie to you guys right now, you probably won't know. But by the end of this call, I probably could ask each and every single one of you guys, did you get a weird vibe from Zach? And then we could filter it from there. So, what we're going to do a little bit, I want to just touch on one of these is what happens when you tell a lie or when you say things with not conviction. Okay. So, everybody on the call, if you guys can do me a favor, I know this is weird. I do this with each and every agent I onboard. Everybody do me a favor. Go ahead and close your eyes real quick. Okay. We're going to imagine two people here. One person is going to be Mr. Nice Guy, and one person is going to be Mr. Cool Guy. Okay. And so at the end of this, you guys can tell me who you think is who. Okay. I'm going to use Gary as an example of who I'm talking to. And again, this isn't Zach. This is just some random person you're imagining, right? So I'm going to say, hey, Gary, nice shirt. Okay. That's the first guy. Second guy, hey, Gary, nice shirt. Second guy. Okay. Everybody open your eyes. Just quick, I'm gonna open up the chat here. Who is the cool guy? Who is nice guy? Just see who can guess right. Feel free to post in the chat. Nice first, cool two. Second guy, super cool. Love it. Love it. First guy, nice. You guys are killing it. Awesome. Love to see a bunch of killers getting this right. You guys would be surprised. There's some bunch of people that get this wrong. So yeah, nice guy was first, cool guy was second. Now, here's the important truth that I need everybody to know this. As a licensed professional, you are the doctor, right? So if I go into a doctor's office and I say, "Hey, I'm having some issues," and they go, "How much pain do you have? How long have you had it for?" On a scale of 1 to 10, right? All the same discovery questions that we ask on our sales calls. And at the very end of the call or at the very end of the meeting with the doctor goes, here's some prescriptions. Go ahead and take two of these tomorrow. Okay? I promise you, there's some part of your brain that's going to go, are you asking or are you telling me? Because you're the doctor here. Whereas if a doctor says, hey, go ahead, take two of these tomorrow, okay? Who feels way more comfortable with the doctor saying it the second way? And so I need everybody to really understand this, that downtone. So on a scientific, and by the way, if it's visually kind of hard to see right now, I challenge all of you guys, pull out your voice memo app on your phone and record yourself on the voice memo, and it'll show you the waveforms. It'll literally visually show you this. And so what's so important that you know is that when you start a statement, right, a thought. So, and I'm going to break it down here. A thought is any time that you're speaking and then there's a break. So, hey, Gary, how's it going? Two thoughts, right? We got a break in the middle. Anytime there's a thought, if the thought ends with your inflection at the end of a thought going up at the end of it, right? There's higher energy at the end of a thought than at the beginning. Hey, Gary, that's uptone. Versus if I go, hey, Gary, that's downtone. Okay. When we speak in downtone, we speak in matter of fact. We speak in confidence and in conviction. When you speak in uptone, what actually happens is not only does it sometimes get misconstrued as a question, hey, Gary, right? But most of the time, what it really does is it actually puts you in a lower place of status. So, for instance, if I go to the mechanic store right now, I don't know shit about cars, excuse my French. So, in the mechanic store, I have lower status than the person I'm speaking to about that situation, right? In every scenario, in every conversation in your entire life, the person you're speaking with either is always going to have higher or lower status, whether it's by 1 degree, a half a degree, doesn't matter, always, right? And so I say this because so many times agents will get objections and they will ask me, Zach, can you teach me how to overcome this objection? Can you teach me how to, I walked into a swamp, the alligator bit my leg. Can you teach me how to get this alligator to let go? And I tell them I 100% will teach you how to do that. But first, let's figure out how to avoid the swamp altogether. Because if I go listen to your objection and then we play back the audio just 5 seconds before that, 90% of the time you did an uptone just before that objection. You said it with unconfidence, you said it with no conviction, and you said it as you were questioning yourself while you're saying it. And that induced, guys, it literally induced flight or fight in them. It put them in that state because you're not confident in what you're saying. So, who here, just curious, show of hands, who here has seen Planet of the Apes? Some of this analogy doesn't hit for some people, but a good amount of people in here. Okay. If you've
Yep.
seen Planet of the Apes, you know there's these moments where the chimpanzee or ape or whatever, right, goes up and he does this. He walks up to the other ape and he puts his hand like this. The other ape kind of comes over and he does this with his hand, right? And so in that scenario, I just want to make sure you guys know this, that by you doing uptone, just so you know, you are forcing them into the dominant position. So if you started the call on downtone, hey, Gary, how's it going, man? Right? Hey, Gary, how's it going? Downtone, right? I start off with this level of conviction. I start off with this level of authority immediately on the call. But by the time that we get to cash value or by the time we get to premium, like, and so every time you want, you can actually borrow against the policy and you can take it out whenever you need. You guys, like, I'm forcing, when I do uptone, it forces them to go, wait, is that true? Wait, what do you mean by that? And so I challenge every single one of you guys before you dive so deep into objection handling and learning how to fight your way through every sale, go and listen to your own call recordings. Go and actually listen to them. I know like 1% of you guys do it, but go and listen to your call recordings and pull back the scenario right before the objection. Were you doing uptone or were you doing downtone? Now, I'm assuming you're sticking to the script. Okay, that's already a given. If you're not, then start there, right? Because if you're having to think about what to say and how to say it at the same time, good luck, right? You should have your script down. But I'm assuming you're already saying the script right. I'm assuming at that point you already know what you're saying. But how you're saying it is so important. And so not I can keep going deeper into this, but I want to make sure we touch on one other thing, and that is just that whole practice part to this. Okay. And so I had this analogy with Gary here, and he was wanting me to talk to you guys about hard work, and I genuinely believe he's 100% right. I also believe, though, that genuine hard work comes from two places, either push energy or pull energy, right? So who here has got paid like a two, three, four, $5,000 check at least in one day, and the day after that you woke up butt ass early with excitement on your face. You were just pumped, you were amped, right? If you haven't had that experience yet, you're probably still in push energy. You're probably still trying to make it work. You're trying to hustle and work harder and harder and harder to get there. And by the way, that's great. That's not a bad thing. You keep pushing until you get pulled, right? But my point to everybody here is this: pulling a lever over and over again is something that people get paid good money for in like an oil field or like a, hardcore job. And they have to sacrifice their health and their family and all this stuff. And they have to pull this lever over and over again, right? It's a terrible job. Meanwhile, the same person is in Las Vegas pulling a lever. There's no windows and they're addicted, right? There's push and pull energy. The difference between these people, okay? The difference between push and pull, right? The same job, the same thing, is how frequently do you get rewarded for your activity? So if I have to pull a lever 500 times to get a slot machine win, then someone's got to come by me. They got to bring me a drink. They got to put me on the shoulder. They got to do all these things. They got to do mentality training with me, and they got to get me to read these books and all this just to work the normal hours that are supposed to work. Meanwhile, the person who pulls lever one out of three times makes a sale, right? Gets paid. I got to go have a conversation with you about how you need to go see your family again, right? So, so many agents, this is be really real with you guys. So many agents leave this is a numbers game and they stop right there. But every single one of you, I know for a fact, can get a hold of somebody who outproduces you and does so in their sleep. In the same 24 hours that you have in your day with your same leads, they would outrate you, right? Can we all be honest here about that? Even me, right? Some I know for a fact, and I know who they are. I know how to get a hold of them, whatever, right? And so it is only through a lack of humility that I do not pull every single one of those call recordings, exactly where I got the objection or where I didn't make the sale or whatever. Just pull, it doesn't have to be a full hour, just pull 30 seconds, a minute of it, and go and pull that call recording and bring it to a person who's outwriting you and go, hey, what would you have said here? And can you please just role play with me for like 2 minutes? Just, I want to hear how you would say it. I want to hear what you would say and how you would say it. And I promise you guys that, and this is the best analogy I can think of here, right? If I say, hey, I'm going to hire you as a lumberjack, I'm going to send you off into the woods, and I'm going to pay you $1,000 for every tree you chop down, but it takes you 400, 500 swings for those outbound people. You usually know, right? Maybe for the inbounds, it's 10, 20, right? But you're still spending a lot of money. So let's think of it like you're putting a ton of gasoline in the chainsaw, right? So if you have to do that much work, then every day we have to do a pep talk, and every morning we got to go and do this thing. But if you just, instead of actually just going out and swinging every day, hoping that today's going to be better, instead of just only doing that, taking a specific amount of time, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour a day, to actually go and sit down and sharpen the axe. Now, how do we sharpen an axe? For those of my Christians in here, iron sharpens iron, right? And so I have to go to somebody who's actually outwriting me, and I have to ask them, how would you have done this? Role play. And I promise you that 15, 20 minutes that you spend in that day is 10 times more valuable than the rest of the hours you put together. Why? Because as your skill increases, then the amount of times it takes for you to swing that axe, right? Then it actually takes less time. So then you're more motivated to go out and to swing again. And a quick side note here for those of that are like, okay, this sounds kind of cool. I need to make sure you guys know this. Just as good as you can get by swinging and sharpening your axe, you can actually get, I'm straight up, guys, you can get bad by not sharpening your axe. Hear me out. When I came from health insurance, it was a logic sale. If I can save you 100 to 200 to $300 a month on your health insurance, you will sign up. So I didn't need to know about uptone and downtone. I didn't need to know about pausing. I didn't need to know any of that. And so for 3, 4 months when I got into this business, guys, I got my ass whooped, right? Because of my ego and the fact that I couldn't humble myself and go to the people that were outwriting me, right? And so I say this because just like if, for those that work out here, right? If I'm doing squats, right, and I got my bar here, but I'm just gonna keep squatting heavier and heavier, but my back is like this, right? I'm going to break my back. It's the same thing. If I'm swinging an axe at a tree, but my angle, the way that I'm saying it is uptone, or it's not good pronunciation. Again, if you guys want, I'll send you the YouTube. There's way more than uptone, downtone. But I'm just saying, if you're missing the mark, what's going to happen to your blade? If it's at an angle, it's going to get duller. And the reason why is because you're practicing it the wrong way. You will get better at what you practice. And without somebody better than you actually giving you that readjustment, like a chiropractor, right? Keep readjusting and readjusting you, you're going to grow crooked. And down the road, this is going to be a much harder game for you after 3 months, 6 months, a year, because how much harder is it to change what you've been doing for 3 to 6 months? Right? How much less coachable are you than when you first got into this? So I implore all of you guys to have that level of humility and really get that feedback. And it needs to be a part of your day. And I promise you, the late nights, the early mornings, those all become 10 times easier when your skill gets there. Last thing I'll say about this, if any, who here in here, just curious again, show of hands, who in here is looking at eventually building a team, like being a leader? Just want to see. Lots of people. Okay, sweet. Love to see a lot of builders on this call. Guys, at the end of the day, there is an inverse ratio between your production and how coachable your agents are. If I'm only writing 10K a month, I will spend the rest of my day chasing you to listen to me. If I write 100K a month and I give you one nugget, you will write it down like it's fucking gold. Excuse my French, right? So I just make sure you guys know this. If you're getting by right now and you're making the money you want to make, or you're just now barely getting there, or even you're like starting to get a little comfortable, that's great. I'm telling you though, it's still probably not enough because when you're onboarding people and you're training people and you're having therapy sessions and you're doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, you need to still be able to get on the phones and with less dials, with less inbounds, with less options, be able to put up the same, if not better numbers than your downlines. Because the gap between you means the less time you spend having to chase them and train them and help them. Because just by being an example, you will have done that, right? And you don't have to repeat yourself, which I mean, just be real, that's your job as a leader to repeat yourself. You just have to repeat yourself less. It's an inverse ratio, right? So I say that all to you guys because even for those that are top producers on this call, please do not stop there. Continue to find that humility to continue to scale because skill is scale. So that is my big rant. I'll open the floor, I guess, up for questions if you guys want. I don't know.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
I love what you were saying because I have found myself, I'm writing a lot of business, but
Mhm.
openly and transparently, I have found myself at times doing that rush, rush, rush. And you probably have heard this before, do have be, okay, and do be
Mhm.
have, okay. I think all of us, and this is kind of in line with what you were saying, we're all do, which is dial more, work more, get that objection down, etc. And if we do that, it'll it'll make us be happy and be
Mhm.
fulfilled, and then we'll have anything we want. Okay, but what you're saying, and it's just a good reminder because I know I need to work at it too, is you're saying be right first.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
be the confident, um, big-hearted, caring, do the downtones that you're talking about, be
Mhm.
commanding, be someone people will listen to, etc.
Mhm.
Okay. And when you're doing all those things, it causes you to do the right things, right? Because you're taking the time to slow down
Mhm.
and do this the right way and not cut corners. And it will cause you to work the hours because a lot of people, the problem on here is not a skill issue, it's a will issue in the first place. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And but if we really kind of slow down and like I've been so excited since you told me about this the other day to have this on the call here that we all, even us that are writing a lot of business, need to take that in is how are we being in on these calls? Right? And it's stressful. The do, okay, it's so stressful. Like, oh, I gotta show up, I gotta come to the meeting, I gotta do like I don't want to be nudged by my leader. Okay. And we do that because if we don't do that at all, then nobody's going to come practically. I mean, it's been crazy. We've had times where we haven't notified people of the meeting, and we have 50 people in here now. If we don't say a darn thing, 25 people come. It's crazy. But it should be that we all look at ourselves and go, how am I being? Okay,
Mhm.
do I need to the law of attraction, right? And
Mm.
can you talk a little bit more to that? Because I know I personally want to grow with that. I want to get better, but I think all of us on here could get better with that.
Yeah. I think I try to take very amorphic concepts and I try to bring them down to like super practical levels. Like what can you do to actually change this? So I'm going to give everybody a really practical thing you can do today, okay?
Hmm.
That will change so much. So first things first, I to quick context, I work through the theory of constraints. What do I mean by that? Every single person that you talk to is going to hear your intro. Your intro is probably pretty good at this point. If it's you're getting hung up on, well, it might not be, but it's probably pretty good. You get a lot of reps to it. But if you think about like an upside down pyramid, right? Everybody hears the intro, a little less people hear the next bit, the next bit, the next bit, the next bit, all the way to the sale, right? So many people, when I do this training with them, will say, Zach, it's okay. I don't really need to practice my account routing because like I never get objections. I'm like, okay, hear me out though. If your intro sucks, then the people that made it to account routing were the ones that were going to buy anyways. They were just your best clients. So I'm talking about closing everybody. I'm not talking about just only closing those people. So what I want everybody to do here is take a look at your script, right? Break it into a few sections if you want, whatever, that's fine. However, you know how your script works. But I want you to do this, guys, is pull out a piece of paper. It's really simple and just write a tally mark every time you get hung up on. Just write down a tally mark, okay? So I got hung up on my intro, tally mark. I got hung up on social, tally mark. I got hung up on, a certain objection, tally mark, okay? And I do the tally mark system because by the end of the day, especially if you're working consistently, or if, maybe you're part-time or whatever, you'll see by the end of the, 2, 3 days a week, whatever, I guarantee you, you can find me on Instagram. I'll bet you $1,000 right now. There will be a massive pattern that will emerge. Massive. You will see it. It'll be the most tally mark thing of everything else. Maybe a close second. And that's it right there. So as soon as you see it very obvious in front of you, go and find somebody out writes you and go, how do you do your intro? How do you ask for a social? How do you ask for account routing? And focus on the constraint to your funnel, which is the pitch from start to close. And so that is how you take very amorphic things like how do I be more skilled, Zach, and to break it down into this, it's just A plus B equals C, right? A is your script. So if everybody's reading the same script, then don't change it, right? B is how I say the script. That is a variable. So this is the one we work on, right? Unless you don't have a script down, then again, say that. But then equals C, right? So that equals a sale. So guys, at the end of the day, if somebody's already duplicating your process and doing it better than you, then the real thing is humility. And then secondly, are you actually working on constraints? Because I can't tell you how many agents will come to me and go, yeah, let's practice my intro. I'm like, but intro is like all you do all day, every day. What is the actual constraint? Because if you're killing on the intro, that's great. But if you keep getting banged every time you transition to application, we don't need to role play your intro, right? So I want you guys to think about it from that perspective. And I think that and to touch on Gary's point, like you were saying, it's a will, not a skill thing. And I agree. I think they're just so interlinked that if you guys spend your will on skill as opposed to just continuing to will and will, then what ends up happening is that will becomes automatic. I swear, right? And my first 5K check in that morning, I was up at like 5:45 a.m. East Coast time the very next day. Like, and I wasn't tired at all, right? I was going till like 11:30 at night that night. Why? Because I was just like another five. I just needed to get. You can feel it. It's the addiction. It's the pull energy. It's right. It's the excitement. And so again, anyways, I want you guys to think about it from that perspective, which is stop trying to sledgehammer your way through breaking trees, right? If you are having the same issues or you're having the same leads, same script as everybody else, and they're outwriting you, I'm sorry, you have a dull blade. That's okay. That doesn't mean that's your dull blade. It means that you have one. It's a tool. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting a script that somebody wrote. That's not you, right? So instead of taking it personally or instead of being shy about the fact that somebody's going to critique you, I need you guys to know this, and I think Gary, you said it, it was be do have, right, guys? At the end of the day, this is important here. So many people when it comes to being, you have no idea who to even be. Like, let's just keep it real, right? You don't know who to like. If I knew the better version of Zach, I would already be him, right? I don't. So who can I be? Well, in this moment, in this pitch, in this script, in like this nugget of time, in this specific area of my life, I can be someone who's better than me in that area. So when I say be, what I'm referring to is whoever has your script and your leads and your process and they're doing better than you, then you need to be them. All right. Meaning go talk to them about it with that theory of constraints, role play with them, and then you should be able to get to the point where you can mimic them. I'm just telling you, if this game is a little bit easier than people make it out to be. If I say the same words as you and I say it in the same tonality as you, I promise you, I'm going to get at least 80% of your results.
Can I ask you a question on that though? Like,
Yeah.
I can think of three people on my team that did
hmm
exactly that,
hmm
and they did very well.
All of them.
One
Yep.
got out of the industry, one's still in it and writing really good. He
hmm
said, I just copy what you did, Gary. Okay.
hmm
Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that for me ego, but I've copied what other people have done. Right.
Mm.
Okay. But a lot of people, why do people get afraid to copy someone else? That's just not me or whatever. What holds people back from doing that, do you think?
At the beginning, there's two things, and I actually cover that in the YouTube series. I'm glad you asked. In the beginning, it's two things. One, it's code switching, so it's just I don't feel authentic, Zach. But I need to remind everybody here that your voice is an instrument, just like a guitar, just like a piano. Literally, it's an instrument. And so by you changing it, we already code switch. I don't talk to my uncle the same way I talk to my niece, the same way I talk to my grandpa, the same way I talk to my boss. Right? I don't. We'll all code switch automatically, anyways. And so for you to do that and also provide for your family, you guys kind of have to get over it. Like as far as like, I don't feel like myself. Who cares? Sorry. It's not about you. It's about the client. What do they need? If sweet old Susie over here needs me to sound like, hey, Susie, yeah, it's Zach. How's it going? And then I talk to a 40-year-old Tim who's like, get to the point. Hey, Tim. Yeah, it's Zach. How's it going? I'm code switching for these people. Same script. I'm gonna say it different ways because that's what they need. That's what the client needs in order for them to make the best decision for them. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is this too. There's a really bad thing that we've been sold a bill of goods, I think social media wise and just in life in general. And that is if I copy 80% of your inputs, I'll get 80% of your results. That's not true. I'm sorry, guys, it's not true. I need everybody here to hear me out on this one. This is a really big deal, and this is the secret in my like this is my like secret sauce to like success in anything I do. Everything you do is a bridge from when the and I'm we're talking about business here. So if I build a business, I'm building a business from putting dollars in my clients' pockets, right? Dollars in my clients' pockets, and it's crossing the bridge, and then it's going into my pockets. This business that I have built is a bridge. Gary has built his own bridge, and Glenn and William, all these other people on here, they've built their own bridge, right? Now, when they talk about I copy Gary, what they're referring to is not just trying to copy this bridge, because that's what a lot of agents do. They say, I'm going to try. But then they look at all their history of all of their past entrepreneurial businesses, everything they've tried, and it's all these half-built bridges. And here's the problem is that there's all these planks on this bridge, tonality, script, lead spend, how mentality, right? And those are really big planks. Then you zoom in a little bit and there's smaller planks, uptone, downtone, right? Like very, very there's planks all the way across. And here's the thing, guys. If a dollar tries to cross that bridge and you're missing one plank, what happens here? Right?
You're not going to cross, you're going to fall or whatever. Yeah.
Dollar falls off on that plank. And so many people go, well, Gary, I did what you said, right? That's what they stop right there. But I'm going to give everybody an example. If you guys want to look him up, his name is Jawad Al Jaway. Okay. So Jawad found from that same podcast that I did for Arturo Johnson, he found that podcast. He found a course that I had out a long time ago. He bought that course and used that course to write 75K a month. But then he decided to leave his captive agency and come join my team. He now to this day cleanly writes 100K every month. And I'm going to give you guys an example of this is like by my best student, right? Why he's so damn good. And that is because he follows everything to a T. But there was a moment where, again, guys, we were doing outbound aged IULs. shit hard, right? Our script and tonality carries us. And he pulled me aside. He had a 100% close ratio for the day. He had closed four policies on outbound agents. Every person he picked up, he closed them. 100% close ratio for the day. And he pulls me aside at the end of the day and he goes, Zach, I need to get better. And I'm like, what do you mean, man? You just quoted like you have 100%. Like, is there better? And he goes, well, you know, there's this one part on the script. When I said it this way, I just got like a weird vibe from the client. And it only happened on one of the calls, but it was weird. Now I ended up selling it. It was like at the beginning of the call and I fixed it at the end and it's all good now. But can you role play with me, Zach, on that one specific section? How do you say that part of your script? Because I just feel like it sounds weird the way I'm doing it. And I got a weird response. And I was like, yeah, sure. And we played it back and he was right. It just the way he sounded it was a little weird. So we role played it out and then he literally never had that happen again. So my point is this is not to like brag or anything. I want you guys to see it this way. Some people don't even see the missing plank or even look for it. Other people who are writing 100K a month, 100% close ratio, still ask for smaller and smaller planks. They they it's the humility of wanting to improve beyond whatever makes you comfortable is what actually got him there. And he started off as homeless, by the way.
You're so right on that. You're
Yeah.
so right on that. I get sometimes people say to me, "You're always trying to change things
Mhm.
to and why don't you just keep doing the same thing? Because what I'm doing isn't working. I got to find the next thing that's working, right?" And that you're saying that's the mentality of the person that's going to keep growing, right? Rather than, oh, just
Yeah.
keep doing it.
And here's the crazy part, guys. It's actually really easy to know if you've copied Gary's bridge or not, or whoever, you know what I mean, that you're trying to copy. It's
Yeah,
really,
anybody's bridge. Yeah.
yeah, it's really easy. Do you get his results? That's it. If you don't get the same results with the same inputs, then you haven't copied the bridge. And until you get those same results, you need to go back to the bridge creator who built the bridge to begin with over and over and over again until you get the same results or if not better. And until you can beat his results, you do not get cute. That's it. It's as simple as that. And people just will spend their entire lives blaming this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. But the person that you're trying to copy right now has already built the bridge. And so until you get the results are better, we do not change anything. We just try to figure out what it is that we missed from trying to copy them because you missed something. And that's okay. You just keep going back until you don't.
So one more little question. I want to open up the floor for people.
Yeah.
With your agency, are they in an office? Are they virtual? And how
Virtual.
do you like stay connected to everybody so that you're all kind of doing the same thing and you know what I mean? And that becomes like the culture of it.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, virtual is very hard when it comes to especially compared to in office. One thing we do, and I don't want to like take away from the Zoom because I don't really know much about Zoom. We use Discord. But what I have it set it up as is um people in there can mute each other, so they're not like basically everyone's unmuted all day. But they individually mute each other. So I can't if Gary's pitching, I can't necessarily just Gary's unmuted, but I can't hear Gary unless I want to unmute him and listen to him. And so what's really cool about that is that since everybody's unmuted all day long, you can always listen to other top producers. And then but it's not just like chaos, like sounding like craziness in the call. And so you can pick and choose who you want to listen to. So if someone's on a hot streak, you can unmute them and listen to them. And me as coach, right? I'll be honest, I have ADD, so I've gotten really good at multitasking. So I almost always have everybody unmuted all the time. Unless someone's, been killing it for a while and they're good, I'll just leave the rookies on. But, you know, I I've been doing it for 10 years now. So I think at this point I'll immediately hear when somebody goes off script and I'll shoot them a quick text or I'll hear when they did uptone. And so I'll shoot them a quick text. And yeah, that's how we do it to kind of stay all together.
And so everybody's in there all the time, so you know what your agents are doing. And okay, and if they're not in there, are they on the team or what is that? What like are they either in there or not in there? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like say like I'm a stickler. I think the biggest thing that was culture. So, um, I I'll just say this. I'm quick. If somebody's persistency drops, that starts coming, their closing ratio drops, I'm pretty quick to address it. And if things don't change, I'm pretty quick to let them go or let them be transferred because I have a pretty high standard. And virtual can lead people to wanting to try to reinvent the wheel or say, oh, I gotta have work-life balance 3 months into the business, So it's definitely not, I wouldn't say easy by any means, but when you have so many top producers, it makes it easy. And I think again, that's back to what I was saying before, guys. Like if you're trying to build a team and you don't have a 60, 70, 80, 90K month producer on your team right now that can be, what other people are striving for, that needs to be you. And if it's not you, then I'm sorry, but like it's going to be really tough to get people to like see the vision, right? And um a timeshare company did this actually. They used to give out all leads to all agents, and instead they switched it where only the best leads would go to the top agents. And you would think that they would lose a bunch of agents in the bottom, right? They're not getting the best leads, but they actually increased retention as a team because even though they were at the bottom, it gives the people at the bottom a way to work up. They were like, I can see the vision, I can get to the top, and these guys are making, 1 million, 2 million. So if you're trying to build a team, hope for a huge number is actually more powerful than a low, medium, average. So just something to think about there.
That's
Like,
good stuff. So much good stuff. So, you guys, I know you have questions today. What he's talking about is way different than anything we've had on a call before. Different way of thinking, and some of you probably need this mental shift. I know it was good, great for me, but who's got some questions for Zach? Come off mute. Take
I
advantage of.
do have a question about the social media because I think you're the first person I've heard talk about it. Um, how do you go about like engaging your audience there, like kind of building that value, high trust, and like funneling them into either producing with you or buying from you or any of the spaces?
Okay, so are you talking about like on a recruiting side, not for lead generation, right? Just making sure.
No, for both, because I assume that it would be a wide market. So just how do you funnel that
Mm.
structure?
So I'll give you guys some super sauce real quick for lead generation. You guys ready to write this down? This is like some crazy sauce I'm gonna give you guys. Um, there, so in my script, I say, all right, Mr. Johnson. Um, Mr. Johnson, I'm always trying to improve, and you guys might have heard this from Christina Andre. I kind of ripped a little bit of it and I kind of implemented some of it. But Mr. Johnson, I'm always trying to improve my sales process on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I do for you today? Right. He's like, always, oh, 10, you did great, fantastic, awesome. Thank you so much. Quick question, by the way. Because I post on my social media about updates in insurance, industry stuff that's going on, anything might affect your plan in the future. Do you mind if I add you on social media? I always add my clients every time they say yes, right? Because you just gave them a reason to. And then they say yes, do it on the call. Okay, do it on the call because when you go search their name, especially on Facebook, they're gonna, there's gonna be multiple people with their name. So you'll say, okay, and is that you with the hat, the glasses, the Nike hat, or is that you with the fedora or whatever? They're like, yeah, that one's me. Okay, cool. All right, I just added you I just sent you a friend request. Could you accept me? Yeah, I'm gonna accept you right now. Awesome. Okay. Now, by the way, I just want to make sure you know this. If you post on your wall, Mr. Johnson, if you post on your wall, your page, and you tag me now that we're friends about what we did together, whether that was we saved you some money, right? Or whether we, increased your coverage, we got you better cash value, whatever it is, right? If you don't mind, if you make a quick post and you tag me, I will treat every single person that comments on that post as a referral, and I'll be able to pay you $50 a person right on the spot as soon as I help them. And so you'll be shocked. If you guys go to my page, you'll see this. You'll be shocked. There's so many people that will post and I'll get 30 plus comments. It's ridiculous. And so I shoot them a DM on Messenger and I'll close 20, 30% of those people. It's insane how many more referrals. And by the way, they post on their wall. So, I'm not posting on my page, right? Because the distribution doesn't get there. But if they post on their own page and tag me, they'll get some comments. And if you want to make it a little bit easier for them, you can send them an example, So here's an example of a post that one of my clients did, just help you out. Maybe you just want to copy and paste it. That's totally fine. Make it super easy for them. So there's some sauce for you guys that you can turn one sale into freaking 30. Um, as far as for recruiting goes, um, there's a few ways to go about it. I think brand is a big deal in the long term. So personally, I would rather recruit slower and protect my brand than do the whole Lamborghini flashing thing. That's just not me. But that's not a judgment on anybody else. I just don't want to be lumped together with like course sellers and people who don't really, you know what I mean? So what I do, if you guys want to look me up, my last name's Young. I don't think I'm a rapper. This is just how I was taught in computer class, but Young Z, 1220 is my Instagram if you guys want to look it up. You guys will see it's just a lot of talking head. So just like how I'm doing this now, I can just talk to a camera, one take. So I have a little 4K camera, podcast mic, and I'll bust it out. And everything that I'm teaching you guys here, I don't go as in depth, obviously, or 60-second videos, but I'll make it so really, really simple for people that are like kind of nervous about talking on camera and stuff like that. If you just kind of put together what did you learn today? Like maybe what did you learn today, right? And it doesn't you don't have to tag me or anything, but just what did you learn today? Or what did you learn this week? And you just do that consistently and just provide value to people. I think that does a lot, especially if you can talk without having a ton of edits and cuts, because then it's like, wow, this person's articulate, they're genuine, right? It's kind of the same reason why live streamers are doing really well on social media because it's authentic, right? So that's my personal. And then I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. They follow 5 people a day in the life insurance space. So between the two of those, I just figured over time it'll build up. But real talk, be real with you. Social media, as far as recruiting goes, is more of like a check thing. It's more of like just double checking you have a presence, just double checking. Most people actually come in on our team from just word of mouth. I spend so much time on training people to be top producers that if you're making 40, 50, 60K a month, you'll tell your friends. So the social media thing is more like before I go work for this Zach guy, let me go see him. And then they see the videos and they're like, oh, okay, he's, not a dick. Excuse my French. But
Okay, who's got another question for him?
So I searched on YouTube and all I'm finding is a bunch of CNN stuff. Where do we find you on YouTube?
yeah, no, it's a private playlist. So I'll do it right now as we're speaking.
Cool.
It is unlisted, meaning you have to have the link to be able to see it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm.
I have a quick question. Hi, Zach. Thanks for coming on the call. I ha actually had a question about the tonality in the beginning of the tone, like the intro. So, do you always use downtone, or is uptone something that you would use in the beginning of the call? Like, or is
Yeah,
that just something you just don't do?
that's a great question. Well, quick question for you. Are you doing inbound or outbound?
I'm doing a little bit of both.
Both. For outbound, you start off with downtone, right? Because you have to take control from the beginning of the call. With inbound, you're coming off a bit more of a customer service, so you're kind of showing your belly. It's like look look weak when you're strong, be strong when you're weak, sort of thing. So I'm like, this is Zach on a recorded line. How can I help? So it's very just like I sound customer service, right? Just to get them to drop their guard. And then throughout the call, I'm actually turning it down. Whereas when I'm doing outbound, they're getting a random call. So when someone's getting a random call, just know, guys, if and we all know this already, right? If I don't have your phone number saved in my phone, my guard's already up, right? So my intro is like, hey, wait, I'm sorry, I'm doing the YouTube thing. So hey, Riley, it's Zach. How's it going? And so right out the gate, that level of familiarity and downtone, you're like, hey, yeah, hey,
Who's this?
Zach, yeah, wait, Zach, oh yeah, no worries. Sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I had a ton of people reaching out. So, I didn't want you to think I forgot about you. Then now you're really confused. You're just like, no, it's okay. Like, it's fine. Wait, what was this about? Like, oh yeah, no worries. You put a request on my, social media. You're looking into the IULs for like cash family or like cash value, protecting your family. Was that for yourself or like just for your family? And at this point, they've already stepped to the door because now you know what I mean? Like they're already talking to me. So, now a big thing I will say is this. There is almost never, ever, 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 ever a time when you are going to say a statement of fact with uptone. So if I were to say, so you have looks like here you have about $3,000 in cash value, or yeah, so you said you're on your policy is 300,000 for $50 a month. Okay. So you're on a term policy. You hear it's like, am I? Versus, oh, okay, so you're on a term policy. Matter of fact, right there, right? So I'm never going to say a statement of fact with uptone because it's always going to be taken as not confident, right? That I'm in my answer. And if you say it with great downtone, you can say the craziest things to people and they will believe it. Like, yeah, of course, the sky's yellow, right? And you're just like, uh, no, wait, it's not. Like there's a part of your brain that wants to believe it just because it was said with such certainty.
Well, it's
Um,
also it's what it is. It's the confidence thing, and
mhm.
people will buy from people that are confident, right? And you're giving them any little bit to doubt you, then it's the flight, like you talked about, right?
Right. And the thing is this, the reason why I say uptone, downtone, guys, is because like Gary, I love the word confident, but for some agents, it's really hard to like, especially if you haven't been confident most of your life, it's so hard to be like, well, what does confidence sound like? So that's why I want you guys to use your voice memos to bust out the waveforms. And I want you guys to actually visually see yourself going up and down. When you see yourself going down and the tail end of what you are saying is lower in energy and volume than the beginning of your thought, I promise you, you will visually be able to see what does sounding confident actually sound like. And so when you do it that way, it's really cool. The amount of agents where they're like, they don't get it. And then I show them the waveform and they're like, oh, and all of a sudden, right then on there, they can sound so confident. So, yeah.
Awesome. Let's take two more questions. Who else
Mhm.
has a question for Zach today?
Yeah, let me
Hello.
grab my tonality playlist right now for you guys. I'm gonna post this link, by the way, in the Zoom chat here for everybody. If you guys want to click that, feel free. But yeah, like I said, guys, it goes wait. I only pulled one thing out of that. There's 30 videos, so I know it's a lot, but I promise you, it will change the game.
And somebody posted, where can we find your course?
So I'll be honest with you, I don't sell a course anymore. Like I said, I didn't really want to be lumped together. I really just did that to help out the AJC leads people. I have the link to the video for it all, but it is pretty specific to AJC leads. So if you want, I can send it to you. I don't really care. But just I sent you guys the YouTube there. If you guys want Instagram, actually I'll put this on here. Instagram. If you guys want to just shoot me maybe a DM.
Hey, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if
Uh,
this person is available.
I'll go ahead and I'll send that over to you guys via Instagram DMs if you guys want. It's like a Loom folder that I have all that in. I recorded in like one day.
Awesome. We'll take one more question, guys, so he can go on with his day and we can start dialing.
I have another question.
Go ahead, Rye.
And like,
So,
yep, if you guys have questions afterwards, shoot me a message on Instagram, whatever.
so what if people, because I'm having this issue where people keep pushing their appointment, pushing their appointment, pushing their appointment.
Hmm.
I don't know, like they're interested. We had a good conversation. I didn't quote them, but
Mhm.
say we made an appointment. What do you do about those people that
Yeah,
just keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off? Like, what do you
yeah,
say to them?
love it. So are you by the way, and this is important, right? Because like, are you getting at this the beginning of a call, or are you getting it like towards the middle, and like, where are you getting the call me back later objection? Is it the beginning?
It's
Like, oh, you
everywhere.
interview ready? It's
It's
at the
all over.
beginning. It's
It's all
all
over
over.
the place. No, it's not in the beginning. It's typically like towards the middle. Like
Mm,
maybe I'll present a little bit, maybe I haven't quoted them. Maybe
mhm,
I just talked to them briefly, but they're like, "Hey, I'm super busy right now, but we could talk. We have a minute." I know it's like trying to one call close those people,
mhm,
but if they do push it to an appointment and then they keep putting it off, and then eventually they just ghost you, right?
mm.
So, but I never even quoted them. So what, I don't know what, you know.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I'm gonna shout outs to, oh, is it Riley? I'm gonna give you guys some thoughts here. So this is, as you guys can see, I'm an open book. This is our script. I want to show everybody here something. Obviously, I do not want you guys to go ahead and start changing your script. Okay, that's not, please don't hear that. But I do want you guys to see this. If you guys want to screenshot this real quick, because I'm sharing can everybody see my screen right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay. So let's see here. Just tell them right beneficiary. All right, cool. So we took out the labels out of this. Probably shouldn't have, but it is what it is. Um, so right here, again, we're doing IULs. So I teach agents not to sell in value, but to sell in deprivation, right? So the difference between value and need. People think that value, or people try to sell in value, which is, and I'll give you an example why this doesn't work super well. If I said, "Hey Riley, I'm gonna sell you a course. It's $100, but I'm gonna teach you how to make $10,000." Cool. Pretty believable, maybe, right? Like, okay. If I said, "Hey Riley, I'm gonna sell you a course. It's $100, but it's going to save you $10,000 this year." Which one is more believable?
Second one.
Isn't that crazy? It's the same amount of money. It's the exact same amount of money. And yet,
Oh,
as
wait.
human beings, we all know that we want to avoid pain more than we want to achieve gain. And other humans are much more likely to genuinely, authentically help us avoid pain than they are to help us make gain. And so instead of trying to pitch people, like you say, you start getting to value. Hey, so yeah, you can get a higher death benefit, you can get a lower premium, you can start whatever. I don't ever dive into that really. Like there's very little value. It is the depth between where you're at and where you need to be is really where value is. It's a need. I build need, not value. And a good example would be if I said, hey, I'm this steak, Riley, I'll sell you a steak for $1,000. You might be like, no, right? But if I said, hey, I'm also going to starve you for the next 5 days, would you give me? Right.
Yeah.
So and then the stake could be 10,000. You would figure out how to get the money. So my point to you guys is that instead of spending time trying to build value, I want you guys to figure out why did you put in that request? And that's the first layer. People are going to give you surface answers. They don't want to like dive too deep into that. And then I want you to go deeper and deeper. So, first things first, who all depends on you for income? God forbid, let's say you pass away tomorrow, knock on wood. Layer one, right? And just remember, I have the right beneficiary. Now I want to get their names, right? Okay, gotcha. Now with final expenses, funeral, casket, probates, typically it can be anywhere from 10 to 30,000. But obviously by the time that you actually get there, it might be higher with how inflation's going, right? So we could start for around like maybe 15K to be safe for now. Does that sound good? Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Now, most of our clients want to leave behind 12 months to 3 years of income. And that's logic, right? So what are we going to end with? Not logic, just to keep their same lifestyle while they're mourning you. So just to get some numbers together, what would you say is an average annual salary? Great. And any debts or assets? So you guys notice I'm just like deeper and deeper and deeper. Like you put in a request thinking you need a little something, something for your family. And I'm here uncovering the amount of risk that you really have in your life. And then this is where we get to, and I'm going to wrap this up. I know you guys got to go, but this is if you guys want to look him up, his name's Jeremy Miner, comes up at any PQ questions. Okay, so with that amount in mind, when that day comes, is John going to be forced to pay out of pocket, get a loan, or do you have some sort of like, stocks, bonds, money stashed in the mattress for it all? And every time you're going to get a slightly defensive answer, right? Like something like, no, well, no, they got a little something. Oh, okay. Well, I guess then mind if I ask what makes you feel like what you currently have might not be enough? And oh, dagger to the heart,
You
right?
sound
Because
just like Jeremy Miner. Like when
right.
you're saying that, I'm like, that sounds just like
Yeah, well, what did I do, right? I mimicked him. I practiced him to the point where it sounds like if I can just do at least 80% of him, I'm gonna get those results, right? And so even then they're like, well, yeah, no, it might not be enough because, and now they're selling me. And that's where need is versus value. And even after they start giving me need, I still keep freaking going, right? Well, maybe just so I can understand the rationale behind it, what's your main reason for wanting to go this way with the IUL rather than, just burying money under the mattress? Like, why do you even want this? No, I really want and so I just flipped it on its head from I don't know if I need it to them selling themselves. So anyways, sorry to go a little over, Gary, but yeah, for
Yeah.
those that are struggling with value, just make sure we're not building value, we're building need. Value comes after they've already agreed to everything, or I'm sorry, yeah, is after they agree to everything, and we're just like, yeah, and also it comes with this, this, and this.
Got it.
Yeah, thank you
So
so much,
helpful.
guys.
Thank
This is
you.
so helpful, and it's what you do with it, though, guys, from today. Really calendar and do it from the B, not, oh my God, I got a calendar, I got to do all this stuff. That's not going to serve you. Okay. You take a second and reflect and slow down a little bit and say, what did he say today that can really affect the direction I'm taking my business and the being and my tonality and creating the member people buy because of fear of loss more than moving towards pleasure, the things he was just talking about there. And the only way you can do that is dig deeper into it. Dig deeper into, how are you doing on your retirement right now? Oh, wow. Okay. And now you can dig deeper into that. And therefore, when you're talking about cash value, there's a little bit deeper meaning into it that's important to them because they're not doing really well with retirement. How would that affect your family? Looking at all the little parts of your script and digging deep and taking a moment of what he talked about today will help all of you guys get to the next level. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And you guys have a great Monday. Let's go ahead and crush it today. And let's have a great week, guys.